The American wilderness stretches endlessly, untouched by time. Golden fields sway under the afternoon sun, and in the distance a sight both majestic and rare unfolds. A herd of wild mustangs, galloping freely, their powerful hooves kicking up clouds of dust. These are the last true symbols of freedom, untamed and unbroken by man. Among them, a magnificent black stallion leads the way, his mane flowing like the wind itself. His spirit is wild, his soul bound only to nature. Little did anyone know he was about to change someone's life forever. Eleanor had lived a long, fulfilling life. At 82, she had seen the world change in ways she never imagined. But one thing remained the same, her love for horses. As a child, she would ride for hours, feeling the wind in her hair. But those days were long gone. An accident had left her unable to walk, confining her to a wheelchair. Yet her spirit remained unbroken. When she heard about a guided tour to see wild mustangs, she knew she had to go. Something inside her, a feeling she couldn't explain, told her this trip would be special. The tour group arrived at the observation point. Eleanor's heart pounded as she saw them. Wild mustangs, powerful and free, their coats shimmering under the sunlight. She watched in awe, her eyes following each graceful movement. Suddenly, one horse stood out, a majestic black stallion, his piercing eyes scanning the crowd. Something about him was different. And then, to everyone's astonishment, he took a step forward, toward Eleanor. The black Mustang continued his slow, deliberate approach. People whispered in amazement. Wild Mustangs rarely came this close to humans. But this one was different. He stopped just a few feet away from Eleanor, his dark eyes locking onto hers. Eleanor felt her breath catch. Time seemed to freeze. Without thinking, she reached out a trembling hand, her fingers barely brushing the air between them. The stallion took another step closer, and then something magical happened. The Mustang, untamed and wild, did something no one expected. He lowered his head, his velvety muzzle just inches from Eleanor's hands. A hush fell over the crowd. Eleanor's fingers trembled as they made contact with his soft fur. A tear rolled down her cheek. It was a touch so gentle, yet it held the weight of something unspoken. Trust, understanding, and something deeper. A bond that defied explanation. Then the most astonishing thing happened. The Mustang took a step back, then another, and then, to everyone's disbelief, he bent his front legs, lowering himself into a bow. It was a gesture of submission, of honor, something wild horses never did for humans. Gas filled the air. Even the tour guide, a lifelong expert on wild horses, was speechless. Eleanor's hands flew to her mouth. The Mustang was inviting her to ride. Eleanor knew she couldn't mount him. Her body had long lost that ability. But in that moment, it didn't matter. The Mustang had given her something far greater than a ride. He had given her trust, recognition, respect. She whispered softly, thanking him, her voice thick with emotion. The Mustang remained still, as if he understood every word. The Mustang slowly rose to his feet. He lifted his head one last time, meeting Eleanor's gaze once more. Then, with a flick of his tail, he turned and trotted back toward his herd. The moment had passed, but its magic would remain forever. Eleanor watched him go, her heart full, her soul lighter than it had been in years. The tour group was forever changed by what they had witnessed. Some wiped away tears, others stood in silent wonder. Even the tour guide admitted, this was something he had never seen before. Eleanor knew she had experienced something rare, something sacred, a moment that transcended words. Not all connections need words. Sometimes the heart understands what the mind cannot. And on that day in the heart of the wild, an elderly woman and a Mustang shared a moment that would never be forgotten.